Hi, y'all. I'm gonna give it just a moment. If you are here, then say hey. That way I know I'm in the right spot. I don't know if I've ever went live in here before. I think I have. It's been a while though. It's been a good hot minute. Okay, it says people are joining now, so hopefully I'm in the right spot. So if you're here, then say hey. But I am going to share, honestly, nothing that I did was crazy last month. But I'm gonna share how okay, perfect, Megan, thank you. Sponsored 8 new teamies last month, and I'm working on, I think I will have my second one for this month as well. So it's probably going to be super long. I was going to do this after lunch, but right now the children and the animals are quiet. So we're going to see if they will cooperate long enough for me to tell you guys about this. So last month, for those of you that don't know, I've been with Scentsy for July will be 3 years that I've been with Scentsy. I hit director last October. No, just kidding. Not last October, the October before. So I was 2 years in when I hit director. But my team was very, very small, and we've probably all been there where you have a team of people that like to work and they're excited, and then they fell off. Yeah, holy cow, that's insane to think about how long ago that was, Sonia. So I hit director. I only hit director numbers that month, and then my team like disappeared. So I've had to rebuild my team from the ground up, and just relight a fire in myself and them, right? Because I'm gonna be real honest. Hey Ray, when I hit director, let me back up a little bit. I've never had a direct sponsor that has sponsored me, if that makes sense. The girl that I originally signed up in, we talked about Scentsy one time. She was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then she stopped selling Scentsy literally the same month that I signed up. So then I rolled up to someone, a little bit more support there, but nothing that was like reaching out all the time, doing challenges, like anything like that. I've learned everything just by Googling it, okay? Watching YouTube, watching trainings in here, just finding out my own way, okay? So if you ever think that your sponsor determines how you're gonna do in this business, it has really no impact at all. At all. You can Google anything that you need to know about this, or honestly just find it in your workstation. Just find it there, because it's gonna be right there. You just have to find it. My sponsor now, I've never talked to her about Scentsy either, so like it doesn't matter, but it has pushed me to be a better sponsor for my own team, because when I hit director, I was super like, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And I was literally waiting for like a shout out from who my sponsor was, and I never got it, and it just put me in a bad mood. So I was like, man, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to get out of my own way, which is part of what I did last month. So all of that to say, I had to rebuild my team, because my team basically just, they were like, well, if you're not going to do anything, we're not going to do anything, which I don't blame them at all. So they pretty much just bounced out. Didn't really, a few of them still sell every once in a while when I send them messages like, hey, you probably need to, let's get to active so you don't lose your downline or go inactive for this month, and then they'll sell. But that's what we were working with prior to last month. So I'm going to get really, really personal in this story, because it does matter. And if y'all see me keep looking down, I have a brand new puppy that I just brought home, and she's asleep. So I'm trying to make sure she she's dreaming right now, so I was making sure that she's good. But the weekend of World Tour really like lit a fire in me, like events do, and I'm so freaking pumped for SFR. But the weekend of World Tour, I decided when I came home, and I'm not telling y'all to do this, please do not quit your job, but the Sunday night after World Tour, I emailed my boss that I had at my corporate job that I'd been with for 6 years. I did, Megan. I did not wait. I'll have to show her you. I'll have to send you a picture of her. My corporate job of 6 years, I decided to email them, this is literally still scary to say. I emailed them, and I was like, hey, I'm not coming back. Because, I'm very impatient, because really from November to February of this year, I was going through a very, very tough time, okay? Tough time as in me and my husband were split up. We weren't even living together. Our children were going back and forth. My business was being impacted a lot. Like, I just kind of put it, I didn't put it on the back burner, right? When I say put on the back burner, it's like doing bare minimum, like 500 PRV, still having a couple of parties. Like, to me, that's minimum, because that's not the paycheck that I want out of this business. So that's pretty much what I was doing from November to about really January-ish of this year. My life was like flipped on a lid. If you've watched anything that I've ever posted in the last year, I've posted a lot about simplifying. We live full-time in a fifth wheel camper, so like 397 square feet. It's me, my husband, my 2 kids, a cat, and a dog, and we just added another flipping large animal to that, so that's going to be interesting. But I had to move out of that, move back into my mom's house, which is scary as an adult. If you've ever had to like move out and move back in with like a parent once you've already been out on your own, 10/10 do not recommend. Like, me and my mom are literally the same person, so we were not getting along. But me and my mom had a conversation on the way back from World Tour, and that's why I'm getting into all of this. I promise it has something to do. So my life was like a literal train wreck. On the way back, because I was terrified to go to World Tour by myself. I knew a couple of other people that were in like my upline team that were going. And I even had people from my team going, which I did not expect after the mess that we were dealing with, just as a team in general. But I made my mom go to World Tour with me, and on the way back, like, she could just tell, like, after being there, hearing like all of the stories and being around the people, she could just tell that I needed to talk about it, because I'm a talker. If you've ever met me in person, I will talk your ears off after I know you. I'm very introverted until I meet you, and I have a really bad RBF, but I promise after I get to talking to you, I literally will not shut up. So we had a conversation on our way back from World Tour, and she told me that whatever it is that I wanted, I needed to get out of my own way, stop caring what other people were going to think, and go after what I wanted. Whether that was getting my family back, whether that was putting more time and effort into my business, whether that was, whatever it was, quitting my job, whatever it was, I needed to stop caring about what other people thought. And honestly, that was literally, I guess when moms say it, like, it just like clicks in your head a little bit more. Sometimes you just need your mom to tell you to stop what you're doing, because you're literally just going down a really bad road that you really don't want to be on anyway. And so we talked about it. She's like, if you want your family back, go get your family back. Like, there's nothing that's happened that says that you can't have your family still. Like, nothing crazy that says you can't, like, go get your family back. If you want your business, you know, it's not too far gone. Like, nothing that you've done is to the point where you can't get back what you want, right? So she probably didn't know that I was going to quit my job after having that conversation, but I texted, that was on Saturday, so Sunday night at literally like 10 p.m. I texted my husband, and because he owns his own business, that's where I'm at now, in Wilkesboro. He's been in business for 5 years. He's always said that once we hit 5 years, I could quit my job and come work for him and do Scentsy full time. That was always our plan. So I texted him at probably 10 p.m. after I had emailed my resignation letter. I did not even work a notice, which was very scary because I've never actually quit a job ever in my whole entire life. Which I say whole entire life. I'm only 27, but still. Texted him and I was like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Like, we're gonna figure this out. Like, I don't know what it looks like, what that means, but I'm going to quit my job, or I have quit my job at that point. And I'm gonna show up at the business at, 9:30 when we open, and I'm gonna do Scentsy full time. He thought I had already lost my marbles when I told him this. See, oh, my light turned off. There we go. So I did that, and I showed up for work, and I got to business. I watched so many trainings that first week because my husband was still in disbelief that I had did this, because I'm not an in-person person. Like, what am I trying to say? What is that word? I'm not one to do things just like randomly. Like, I'm a planner. I have to plan things. I have to know like what my next step is. Like, I'm just a planner type of person. So doing impulse. Thank you, Ray. Not an impulsive person at all. So when I told him I just did this, he didn't believe me. I literally had to like screenshot my email and send it to him, and he was like, oh, you actually did this. Okay, so that's very out of character for you, but we're gonna roll with it. So that first week, me and my husband, the first thing that we did was we prayed about what this was gonna look like, and that for me to be okay with this decision, I needed God to show me that I didn't just like completely mess up everything that I'd worked so hard for in the last 6 years at my corporate job, because I was in my dream position there. I was a corporate trainer. I trained like hundreds of new hires every single day and loved my position. Like, there was no other position in my other company that I wanted, and I got it. And I'd been in that position for a year. So it was very scary to leave. It's very, very scary to leave. But we prayed about it, and I kid you not, that first week, it was an eye-opener. It was literally what I needed to say, okay, Danielle, you didn't like literally just screw up your whole life. You did something without a plan. You survived. It's okay. But that was Monday before, that Tuesday was Valentine's Day. So it was Monday the 13th, I think, is when all of this started. So that whole week, I was very, very intentional with my customers on my personal page. I was very, very honest and open about what the heck I just did. And I also got very, very intentional with what am I doing? Because before, all the last 3 years, honestly, because July will be 3 years with Scentsy, I was just fitting Scentsy in like a lot of us do in the moments that I could, whether that be before, dropping the kids off at school or in between homeschooling my daughter or at night or however it looked. I was just literally just sticking it in wherever I could, right? And then when I quit, I was like, okay, I can't just devote all of my time to Scentsy. As much as I would love to, I still have to run this business, the shed business that we own, because like I found out the other day, I was opening a package live in my VIP group, and here comes a customer walking in the door, and I just looked like a deer in headlights. So I have to still like plan when I do things. But like that first week I was so overwhelmed, and I almost got caught up in like, oh, I can do all these things, and I was doing the whole comparing game, and it was not good. It was not good. So I had to be very, very intentional with my time, which I have a whole planner system, which is essentially the label system that Katie shared in this group. It hasn't been too long ago. And I just fit it for me to work our family business plus my Scentsy business. So like I literally had like tasks for sheds and then tasks for Scentsy every single day. But I had to be very, very intentional with what that looks like. But otherwise, I'll just do all the things, and I'll sit here and work Scentsy all day long, and I will spend all of my money, and that's not doing us any favors. Especially now that this is like full-time income, I need to replace what I was making at my job that I quit. The biggest thing though that I feel like helped me last month sponsor 8 people, and really even this month with sponsoring, I'll have 2 by the end of today, is when my mom told me to get out of my own way and stop caring what other people would say or think or would do. Because when I share a lot on social media. I feel like I share a lot on social media about like what was going on with my personal life at the time with me and my husband before we kind of rekindled everything. So I told my mom, I was like, I'm terrified. Like, I don't want people to know that I just moved back in. Like, we live in a small town. Everybody talks. And I was like, I don't want to do that, Mom. She was like, stop caring what other people think. Stop. And that really did lead me into not caring what other people think when I shared Scentsy on my personal page. Because if you go back and look a month ago, 2 months ago, I was like a Scentsy consultant in hiding because it's like I didn't want people to know. Like I did, but I didn't. Like I only wanted them to know like if I had a goal to achieve, right? Or if I had something that I was trying to promote, like a whiff box or some kind of like flash sale. Oh God, they would definitely know when it was time for a flash sale, right? Like I would share the heck out of that stuff. But just like your normal everyday, it was like hush hush, nobody needs to know I'm in direct sales. I don't know why there's such like a stigma behind that, but that's literally what I thought. Like, don't let them know I'm gonna be like a secretive consultant or something. If you go back on my page, you'll see, like, you will not see, I didn't even have like consultant in my bio or anything. Like none of that was on there. I have no idea why now. Like it seems so silly to me now, but before I was literally a consultant in hiding. Like I just didn't want people to know. And I don't know why I was like that or why there's such a stigma behind like, oh gosh, what is so-and-so gonna think if I just share Scentsy? Because if you like anything, you share it on social media, right? Like anything, you just don't get paid for it. And Scentsy literally pays you just to share. So when my mom told me to get out of my own way, stop caring what people thought, it was really about getting my family back and not caring what anyone had to say about that, because that's really what I wanted. It led into sharing Scentsy, because the 8 people that I sponsored last month, I had never talked to any of those 8 people about Scentsy before. All 8 of those people, with the exception of 1, were in my VIP group. So if I had not gotten out of my own way and shared consistently on my personal page about Scentsy, I would have never found those people. I would have never had these conversations. And I can tell you, out of those 8 people, my 3rd one will be certified this week, or at least this month. She's really trying for this week. And 4 of them hit Shooting Star. So I did have some kidnappers, I believe, because they just haven't really taken off. But for the most part, they have really just took off with it. And I can confidently say that me helping them and mentoring them this month has been that drive. And me being more present in my team page, boosting them, kind of encouraging them along the way, has really helped. And I took my feedback of my own self, of how I felt whenever I hit huge, big milestones, and I was just being a brat, honestly, about, I need a shout out. No, you don't. Pat your own self on the back, because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to work your business, and they're probably trying to work their own business or tend to their own lives, because life is just crazy in general. They ain't got time to shout you out. Shout yourself out. It is no different. Yes, it feels good when somebody else pats your back, but I needed to just get out of that mindset, and I'm so glad that I did, because it wasn't needed. It literally, if I wouldn't have been a brat whenever I hit director, waiting for someone else to shout me out, and just got out of my own way, I can't say, because I can't go back in time, I can't say that I wouldn't have lost my director title, but there's a good chance that I wouldn't have. And it's all because I just got in my own way and was throwing myself a pity party and was like, man, nobody shouted me out. Whatever. I cannot, it irks me now to know what I could have been 2 years later if I wouldn't have just stopped being like that, to see where I could have been today. But that's in the past. It's all good. It happened for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. So I feel like I have not even shared hardly at all what I did to sponsor people, but I really don't know. The only things that come to mind to me about sponsoring 8 people last month is getting out of my own way, sharing consistently on my personal page, and consistently being 3 to 4 times a week. Whereas before, you would not have caught me, maybe a flash sale every now and then on my personal page. I've been so darn consistent. It is insane. And with my team, especially my new people that I added this month, when they tell me, oh, I don't have time to do this, I'm like, no, listen, here's what we can do to combat that. This is, you have time. You just got to make it. And it has to mean enough to you. If it means enough to you, you will make time, no matter what it is. Your business, what you want to do with your life. If it matters, you will make time. If not, you will make excuses. So, being so darn consistent that it's no surprise when people see Scentsy on my page now. It's just not. It is that, being consistent, and then showing my teamies, because I've also seen that as these new 8 have kind of added, some of my other ones that were hiding out in the bushes on my team page, they've kind of started to rekindle their fire as well. Because when when things get stagnant and you add new fire into it, it kind of flames everything back up. And that's really what, okay, be careful. It kind of reflames all of that to get it going back up. And that's really what I've seen on my team page, because last month I want to say I had 8 active frontline, and here it is halfway. In a minute, she's sleeping. It's halfway through the month and I already have 8 active frontline already for this month. So it's kind of seeing a snowball effect there. The other thing that I can say that I did is doing Happy Mail. And I can tell you now, and this is a different training for a different day, but getting the scents under my customers' noses consistently, and I'm talking very cheap. I do not mail out anything that does not fit in a business 10 envelope and go out with 1 stamp. Like, we're not doing it. If they're local to me and they come and pick up, I'll throw extra things in their bags. But if I'm mailing it, it's going out with 1 stamp. That has been something that has definitely impacted my business. Not sponsoring, of course. Sponsoring, in a minute, is very, 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 very much impactful on me getting out of my own way, sharing consistently on my personal page, as well as my business page, and just talking to people and showing them. One thing that I did do, that's why I brought up Happy Mail. One thing that I did do last month with all of my Happy Mail is I put in how much they would have earned off of their purchases. And I had one lady that joined, she did this on the 1st of this month. She messaged me. She's been a customer of mine literally all 3 years. And she said, Danielle, your little papers you put in my mail, they're in there. Those little papers you put in my Happy Mail, they started to pile up, and I started doing some math, and I see how much I would have made if I would have just sold this all along. She's like, so I'm tired of giving you your commissions. I'm just gonna join myself and get my own. I'm like, that's exactly why I put that in there. Y'all, she literally orders like 3 and 4 times every single month. I'm like, please stop. Like, I've given you a reward link. Like, let's just take your own money. Stop giving it to me. So that's how I sponsored one person this month. The other girl that's joining me today, hopefully, or at least sometime this week, she literally, we talked about it last month. Something came up and she wasn't ready. So now she's going to join this month. So that would have been 9 last month if things just didn't happen. But being very, very intentional and just sharing the crap out of everything and not worrying what people care is the biggest things that I can say. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like, oh, I did this big miraculous thing and I got all these people to join. It really wasn't it. And if I would have been sharing consistently on my personal page all this time, who knows when these people would have joined. I mean, yeah, $20 join special, $25 join special is great if that's, what pulled them in, but who's to say that they wouldn't have joined on last year's 25 join special and where my business would be now. So like looking back, I was just getting in my own way and I needed to stop doing that so that my business could do what it needed to do and what it was meant to do. What? Yes, I will in just a second. We're going to go get lunch. That is it. Nothing crazy. All the children and animals are getting up now, so I'm going to pop off here. If you guys have questions, I do not mind to answer them. Definitely will not be the last time that I go live, I promise. I'm trying to get better at that. But get out of your own way. Do something scary today, and I challenge every single one of you to post on your personal page. And if you've never did it before, watch what flipping happens. You will You will shock yourself when you do that. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.